All right. Hello, everyone, and this is again the 37 Network, and we are here for some little bit of podcast here at the. Well, we're only doing it virtual since the drivers and team owners are traveling from Daytona to Darlington for the next race this Saturday at night. So let us remind you that everyone that the next race would be the South Carolina Education Lottery 400 this Saturday at night. But we are here to talk about Wolfgang Muller, who is recently banned from the PSRLA for 1 year. So we are being joined with Angel Gutierrez, driver of the number 45 for Able Motorsports, Marc Guerrero, the owner of Minardi Racing, and Dylan Matthews, the PSRLA president and the owner of DM Motorsports. You guys can.
Hello there. Hi.
Uh,
So yeah, here's the thing. So we all know that we just recently banned that guy for he just for joining the league and then closing down for and then causing disrepute with the data for PSRLA and then yeah he got banned. But before we are talking about that, we're talking about that fiasco inside the PSRLA. I would like to ask Angel Gutierrez, how are you after the Daytona 500?
Certainly, very surprised. I mean, I passed like three wrecks out of four cautions. Cautions happened in the race, but the tire blew up. But at least I finished the race in 26. Certainly, I do a great job for at least. I hope I got a great run for the Darlington and recover the last point back there.
Yeah, so how about Dylan? What's your reaction with the crash between the teammates Skylar Taylor and Josiah Robinson? He's probably sleeping in class. Oh no, I'm kidding. but but be- but before we come back to Dylan, let's ask Mark how what do you think of the performance of your team with your drivers Alan Jefferson and Keith Drake performing?
I am very happy with their performance. They performed very well for two, and I believe we can achieve many more great results this season if we keep up this form.
Yeah, fair point. So let's go to the main topic now, which is Wolfgang Mueller and his and his shenanigans. So here we go. So we had a recent conversation with Wolfgang Mueller, which is he's complaining on how the series runs. Like he's expecting to run the series like DTM or Formula One or whatever European series you think of. But yeah, I mean I think I'm not really sure if he's really familiar with NASCAR Wheel and Euro series. It runs the same as all the other NASCAR series and even the ARCA Menards. So let's ask for your guys' opinion since we already show the screenshot of the conversation between me and Mueller. So what's your guys' reaction about this?
I think this guy is an absolute clown. This is probably the second biggest scandal in the league since, probably the biggest one since Fox.
As
So,
a European myself, I got to say, he's an idiot. Cause I understand he may not understand the point system that well and how NASCAR works, since Europe and NASCAR aren't really familiar with each other. But at least try to learn or understand how NASCAR works and do some background research. Otherwise, if you expecting Formula One like rules or point system, you're an idiot. Cause that's not how NASCAR works.
so how about Angel?
Well, uh, sorry. Well, how will I put this? Certainly, I'm not against pointing to let other drivers join, but wolfing, there's a really good definition for us in Mexico. The word's pendejo, not ho, to say at least.
Yeah, that guy is basically expecting us to follow his what he wants. Like for me, well, it's the opinion of the majority that matters really. So if you guys are in favor with the rules that I set and you guys are fine with it, then yeah, I keep it. But if you guys in the majority complain about the rules I made, then I can make changes. But since that guy is the only guy that complains about that, I mean we have European drivers. I mean Tom Sloan, Kirian Jimenez, and of course the owner Mark, which is with us today. So they, I mean, you guys are European and you never complain with this series. And then there's this guy Mueller that complains that how we run the series, like, yeah, expecting us to run like DTM, and then he will tell us joining mid season is considered full time driver. Like, what in the world?
Well, certainly needs to know the difference between European racing and NASCAR. It's not the same thing as solo race cars and stud cars. It's like saying it's the same team a potato, they are not. It's not almost the same thing.
Yeah, totally
Uh,
agree. Yeah, Mark.
well, yeah, sorry. Um, yeah, I understand he might not understand the rules, since NASCAR and any European races are very different. And we may have NASCAR being European series over here, but it's not a very well known series. It's a minor series over here compared to something like, well, Formula One. I when I started watching Formula One, I was confused as well. But I did my research, I did my background, I watched some races to learn, and now I understand it and I enjoy it. But if you are not willing to invest time to understand it, you should not join a series, because every series has unique rules.
Yeah, we totally agree. How about Angel? Do you have any follow-ups or any do you have any follow-ups?
Well, certainly I'm a fan of auto racing. In all kinds. Formula. When I was like 9 or 10, I look, watching every race of Formula One or NASCAR every time I managed to get the chance. IndyCar sometimes, and I like all this both series. I like every kind of racing, but certainly, like Mark said, every series has their unique rules, and certainly, I think he needs to at least look the Wikipedia how NASCAR works. works, and certainly need to learn how the series works because we have the same things in Mexico. The NASCAR series, example, the Cup series is running like the same. The Mexico series run almost like the same, and the same with the Pindies and Euro series. Trying to do almost the same as DTM or Formula One is not the same thing. Apart Formula One, you need to have a team full time. Certainly, we can just do your thing and like in the mid 2000s, then the early 90s or 80s. Those times were gone. We need to advance and get more specific. We can let guys out of control.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, we all know that there are several European drivers that actually already race in NASCAR, such as the likes of Kimi Raikkonen, even Jensen Button, Daniel Kvyat, and even the 2013 DTM champion Mike Rockenfeller. I mean, after all of that and the European interests in NASCAR, and still he is acting like he has no idea about it.
Well, we can call that a bad day, but certainly, like we said, you don't know how this works. You're gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're thinking about 2024, since there are more interest from owners from owning the team this season. Then some drivers are interested, the likes of Skylar Taylor, Michael Sheeran, and some of the drivers out there who doesn't have currently have any full-time rides this season. Well, we're still considering that we will keep the 36 car charter, and then letting the unchartered the cars run full time if they want to. Of course, of course, one free charter is in the books right now with the currently owned number 71 Checker Flag Motorsports entry, and then here you go. And if that guy still so if we made if we made that changes in 2024, do you think he would still have some interest in owning a team or anything, since the ban will only last until the end of the 2023 season?
If I am honest, if he doesn't research it but still wants to own a team, he will probably come back and make just a mess as he would before. I think if he does his research and behaves better, I'm sure he can be a valuable member. For a European, a fellow European team to form beside all these American ones, so we have more widespread, more global reach.
Yeah, that would be definitely a really insightful opinion right there. So here's one of the main questions we do have. Do you think that Wolfgang Mueller's ban for the 2023 season, do you think he really deserves it or not? What's your opinion about it? Let's start with Mark.
Well, I would say perhaps a ban is a bit harsh, being he, but I can understand it as well, cause he he didn't behave towards the rules. Maybe a mute timeout of would have been better, or at least some other way to handle the situation, but I can understand why a ban was imposed.
How about you, Angel?
Well, he wants to race mid-time. I'm not gonna blame him. He can do it, but he needs to learn the rules because you don't know how to use the rules. You're gonna more unfair. We're gonna have more problems. If he wants to run full time, he can wait to 2024 and do it full time. As long as he, as long as he didn't want to do something stupid, I'm fine with it. But running full time after the second race, it's not like how NASCAR works now. You were in the 2000s, that's gonna work. But this is a new era, new rules. We need to stay with the rules and change it to get more power, more attention. I hate to say it, but certainly he wants to race. I'm not gonna blame him. But like I said before, you need to learn how we know make the rules, how we make the things. Because if we didn't know how to do it, so why you want to put a team in the first place?
Yeah, so there you go. So I guess and let's proceed with the next topic now, which is the South Carolina Education Lottery 400. So what do you guys expect since we are going to Darlington Raceway? So and the track is notorious with hitting the wall out of turns, out of the corners, and then earning the so-called Darlington stripes. What are you guys looking forward with that with the race?
Well, at first I want to do great and recover some of the lost ground we lost in Daytona, but I gotta have a look out with the corners. Unless I'm gonna do a wall right like Larson tried to do in 2021, trying to gain the win against Danny Hamlin. It didn't work that well too well. If we are in Marysville, it could work, but these new rules coming out, I think it's not be possible because trying to do it is not the same as a video game in the real life. But I'm gonna try to get it well and recover the lost ground, like I said in Daytona.
I, of course, hope my cars do well. I think we can do well, and I think hitting the wall can be have an advantage at time, but I want to say keep it to minimum, cause and use it only when you really need to. Cause even though you might tap it slightly, you always get a bit of damage, which might harm you in the long runs.
All right. So before we end, Angel Gutierrez, just in case if we do have any Mexican fans watching here, I would like you to ask them for ask for their support in Spanish, please.
Well, certainly I'm gonna tell my fans that I'm gonna try my best to gain a win and hopefully again chance to fight it. If I came here, it's about to get it done and get a win or maybe be a champion. So far, no, this is just the beginning. So we didn't want to back, and I'm gonna pull back now. This is just the first, yeah, past the first race of the season. So I'm going for that win. Vamos, bebé, que la victoria is gonna be ours.
All right. So, Mark, since we are trying to attract European viewers here, can you say something in any language you wish?
Well, I am Dutch, so I will speak some words in Dutch. Um, Fans die mogelijk luisteren, ik hoop dat jullie deze series leuk vinden en natuurlijk joinen. Want het is. Nou, want NASCAR is gewoon geweldig. En ik hoop gewoon dat jullie deze series joinen en het hier net zo leuk hebben als ik het heb. Back to you.
All right, so thank you guys very much for joining us here in the first ever episode of the PSRLA podcast. Well, name still thinking of any title for this podcast, but anyway, we also appreciate the presence of Able More Sports Angel Gutierrez and the Minority Racing's the owner Marc Guerrero. So anyway, so that concludes our first ever podcast. So thank you guys very much for watching, and we hope you to see you guys in our next podcast. So take care, everyone, and let's go Sonic Boom.
Adiós.
Bye.